All right. Hopefully this is working. It really wouldn't be a live chat with me if everything worked okay. So let's see if everything is good to go. It doesn't look like it is. Um Oh, there I am. Okay. Hello everybody. I realized that the streaming service, let's just cut this out. Let's just get rid of the background cuz it's horrible. Theme, primary logo, just bear with me here. Um Background. Yeah, let's just get rid of the default background. There we go. I think that works. Let me tell you, this streaming service that I have, I need to immediately look into other ones because this is terrible. Did that work? Nope, that didn't work. You might just be stuck with this fake background that makes it look like I have a pool. I don't have a pool. I don't. Um, my bad. Look, we are here to talk about Ozark Season 4, Part 2. This is the end, folks. This is it. And if you can hear me, by the way, just give me like any semblance because I'm always worried with these live chats that you actually aren't able to hear me at all. So if the one person that's watching can just comment in the comment section that you can in fact hear me, I would appreciate it. I am Pat. I am from the channel. I'm the voice you usually hear with all of these recaps. Thanks for listening to my voice. I appreciate that because most people don't want to. Once again, we have a couple of new people here. So if you could just give me some some clue that you can hear me in the chat, I would appreciate it. Just like a thumbs up, thumbs down, comment. Yeah, we got you. Because I'm always worried with the streaming service stuff. I have only done a few of these, still not comfortable, and I will constantly remind you I don't have a pool in the background. But throw any questions you have in there. Hopefully you have finished Ozark season 2. If you haven't, I would suggest popping right out of this chat. We are going to be doing heavy spoilers for the ending of Ozark. And if you have checked out my recap on it, I appreciate it. If you checked out my quick spoiler-free review, I also appreciate that. Here's what real quick before we get into diving into it, I did start a Patreon. So if you guys are fans of the channel and you just want to support, check that out. There is a link in my description of this video that you can just hop into, and that should help it out. You can give me like $1, or I think it goes up to like as much as 10. But if you want to support the channel, we started a Discord, so you can hop in that. But just other ways of trying to get some revenue stream. I'm not gonna lie to you people. Still don't know if you guys can hear me. So I obviously got Ozark a little early. That's how I was able to put out a let me see if I can do a chat. Top chat, live messages, all visible. Okay, there we go. I had like top chat, and I don't know how you get top chat. I don't know what the difference between top chat and live chat is. So I will say that ha ho he and das daku. Um, I would say thank you for chiming in. I don't know why you guys weren't featured in the live chat and the top chat, but you're top to me. I'm on season 2 so far. I'm not even close. Yeah, Doc, I appreciate you popping in, but I am going to be ruining the majority of the show for you. So I don't usually try to turn people away, but I also don't want to ruin it for you. Hello, Vince. I also don't want to ruin it for you. So I appreciate you checking this out, supporting the channel, but we will be doing heavy spoilers with this video. So I don't want to ruin it. But let's get into the ending real quick. I want to know if you guys liked it or not. I've been hearing some mixed things. And when I first ended the show, I actually texted my contact at Netflix and said, like, I just don't know if I like this or not. Personally, I got heavy Soprano vibes from it for, I think, obvious reasons. I was pretty surprised that in the comments for my um spoiler-free review for it, people were loving Soprano. Like that was the one thing people were really upset about. They're like, Sopranos is the greatest ending of all time. To each their own. That's fine. I know a lot of people who thought it was the worst ending of all time. So that's the only reason why I put it. I will be perfectly honest with you. Feel free to smash thumbs down for this one. I never finished Sopranos. Never finished it. And part of the reason why I never finished it was because I knew the ending, but I also had heard enough people say that it was the worst ending in the world. I guess I could have went with Lost. I actually finished that show. I thought that ending was terrible. But when it originally ended with Ozark, it faded to black, and I was like, "Do not end it like this. Please don't end it like this." And obviously, you hear the shotgun go off and roll credits. Um, I've come around to it though. I've come around to it because it really did become birds versus everybody. Marty, Wendy, Charlotte. But for the majority of season 4, including part 1 and part 2, it was those 3 and then Jonah on the outside. And you saw this is even though Jonah doesn't agree with what his mother has done, even after they kind of made amends, it's still the birds versus everybody. And what I did really, really like about the episode was when Mel Saddam just goes, "You can't have it all. You're not going to be the Kennedys or the Kochs. Like, you're not royalty." And even though in that moment, Wendy knows that this guy could ruin their entire life and she cannot see Jonah, even though she knows all of that, she just goes, "Why?" I love that part of it. But as Haho he says, I want a closure. I agree with you. Like I kind of want a closure too. I got Lost vibes in the sense of I remember watching the conclusion of Lost. I watched it in real time. And I really do have to change that background because it's horrible. I don't even live in a place that looks remotely close to that. But when I was watching it live, if you remember out there, Lost finale was originally supposed to be 2 hours. Thank you so much, Vince. I appreciate that a lot. Lost finale was supposed to be 2 hours. They pushed it to 2.5 hours. I remember sitting there with 2 hours in and going, they're not going to answer jack shit. And I got similar vibes with this video because of the fact that when Jonah and Charlotte were doing the, kind of remembering and reminiscing, going down the memory lane trip at the Missouri Bell, I was like, they're not going to answer anything. There's only like 10 minutes left in this show. They're not going to be able to wrap up stuff. I wanted more conclusion with the cartel other than just they're going into business with Omar's sister, whose name is Camilla, because I didn't trust Camilla, and I felt like that storyline was really rushed. They went from pivoting from working with Javi to working with Omar, and then I don't know, like episode 6, they decided, you know what, let's just tell Camilla everything. I felt like that was completely rushed. That's one thing that I did not like about it, and because it was so rushed, I felt like we were going to get a proper conclusion to it, and we didn't. The only conclusion we got was Camilla finding out Ruth ended up killing Javi and getting justice for it. So that I didn't really like, but I don't know if it's I've talked myself into the ending or not. I've had a lot of time to sit with it and reflect. I had a buddy from work who absolutely loved the ending. Um, John immediately texted me and was like, "This is the best ending of all time." I had another friend who sent me the exact opposite, was just like, "Really? I shaved my chest for this." And I get it. This was a polarizing ending, and I even said that in my spoiler-free review. If anyone checked that out, you don't have to. Just let the ads run as usual. But it was polarizing because there wasn't really a conclusion, but yet there kind of was a conclusion. You got the answers you wanted. You just didn't get, I think, the answers that you maybe have talked yourself into. And that was part of my problem. I was convinced that maybe one of the birds would die. And then honestly, we got enough death in this season. We really did. It started off with Javi, and then I think it was the Mexican lieutenant. Then you got Nelson. Then you got Ruth. I mean, I think there's somebody in there that I'm missing too, for sure. But I felt like you did get enough death in this season, especially from main characters. Uh, I would have liked to see Ruth survive just because I think Ruth had become a real favorite. Just hearing that southern accent of "what the fuck, Marty Bird," love that. But the way she went out was so perfect for her. Just staring down a barrel of a gun and yelling like, "Well, are you gonna do it or not?" Love that. That's so Ruth Langmore. But I also love the fact that Camilla made her wait on it and was like, "No, I'm not giving you the justification of just doing it. I'm gonna make you sweat this out." And you saw it in Ruth's eyes. What sucked for me though was the fact that you finally saw Ruth kind of digging herself out of that um trailer park trash role that she had been in and kind of making herself something important and a upstanding member of society. And of course, when that happened, I kind of thought she's not going to survive this. Um, Another thing I really liked about this end of the season is the conclusion is I did feel like it was an homage to characters in years past. They never revisited the Tuck character. I didn't think they needed to, but just giving him a nice little homage the way they did, I really like that. Bringing back Rachel, they found a way to bring her back. I like that as well. And even going back to the Ruth characters of having her entire family there at one point, having a barbecue, and she's just envisioning all of it. I like that as well. Um, the one problem that I have, I guess, with this season was introducing the new character of Camilla and then having her kind of take over. Now, I never watched this show, but How I Met Your Mother had this where apparently, spoiler alert, the last season of How I Met Your Mother, they kind of brought in the person that was their mother, and I felt like with bringing Camilla, it was like, all right, she's going to take over the cartel. I kind of would have rather had Marty take over the cartel at that point, um, but I also like the fact that Omar died, of course, um, but I also like the fact that as much as they tried to get out of the cartel business, they really couldn't. They couldn't find a way out. But there were a lot of amazing characters that I loved in this series. I felt like we saw Jason Bateman in a completely new role and Laura Linney. The one question I have for everybody out there, and maybe I'll do a little poll. I did put a poll up before, uh, but I don't know if it's still there. I did like a hey, like, did you guys like it? Let me move this over. I'm gonna put two polls up. Um, did you like the finale? Okay. The other poll I'm gonna put up is one that I had been uh, I'll put up in a little bit as you guys answer that. Um I had a lot of people, a lot of coworkers, a lot of friends who absolutely hated Wendy. Like just despise Wendy. And I'm interested in you guys out there. Did you guys hate Wendy? Because people were comparing her to Skylar White, and I personally hated Skylar White a lot more than Wendy. Now, I understand the hate for Wendy in the sense of she kind of got them into this mess in a way by cheating on Marty. Um, she was a cold-hearted character, but I think a character that most dramas need. Somebody that does not give a rat's ass who she's hurting. And you really saw that this season too. The strife between Marty and Wendy was extremely real. Now they kind of came around towards the end, but man, like their relationship took a hit because Marty was a guy that seemed to have a conscience where Wendy didn't give a rat's ass who she was killing. She was justified in her own head of, well, they got him into this mess. Oh well. And I sided more with Marty, but I understood Wendy's side. I'm interested for you guys out there what you guys think of Wendy Bird out there. Obviously she survived, as did all the birds. I know a lot of people though were praying that Wendy died. They wanted justice for her, and you kind of saw it where Nelson came in with with the priest, and she immediately thought, okay, this is happening. And then all of a sudden, he said, hey, it's not time now. Nelson was one of my favorite low-key characters because anytime he showed up, you just never knew what was up. You never knew if he was going to kill you or if he was just there for a meeting. To see him die was a little disappointing. I will be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out how Nelson, and I'm assuming maybe it was he was tipped off from Wendy, but I'm still trying to figure out how Nelson knew to go back to Ruth's and look for Rachel. I don't know. I mean, I tried to cover that in the recap as best I could. I probably failed at it. Um, Samil says, "How the heck did Wendy survive? All that foreshadowing about Marty should leave Wendy going to nothing." Yeah, I think to answer your question, I think she survived just on wits and intelligence. I mean, say what you will about Wendy and Marty, and I am going to start another poll. We had only had 3 people vote on that. That's kind of pathetic. Um, Majority though said no. Because I do want to get to this Wendy poll. That we will put up in a second. Create a poll. Did you just give me 1 second, folks? Sorry, bear with me. First timer here. Hit thumbs down for that. Did you like Wendy? And this one I'm gonna keep up longer. Um, yeah, look, say what you will about the birds, and Wendy in particular, very intelligent people. Like they completely know how to work the system. They really do. They're two people that were seemingly one step ahead, and by the way, kept their complete cool at all times. I mean, they really did lead a clinic in keeping your cool under pressure. Most of the time when they were stuck in predicaments, you know, I would have cried. And both of them constantly were thinking of how to get out of it, including till the very end when finally Marty just had to say, I don't have to spell it out for you. Any way we do this is going to be suicide. We just got to get up on that stage and act like everything's okay. So I think that's how she survived. You kind of saw it with the way she handled Camilla. She befriended Camilla, calls her up, is able to get her the meeting with Omar, which is what she wanted. I mean, she was basically good cop, and Marty had to play bad cop with Camilla. And when it came time for them to reestablish the cartel and find a new boss, it was like, all right, well, we've put a lot of good work into nurturing that relationship, and now it's going to pay off. And Camilla, look, the deal was too good to pass up for Camilla. She got everything she wanted, so I get it. But I think that's how she paid off. I definitely thought that the foreshadowing of, if you want to leave me, go ahead. I thought that was a good indication that something more would happen than what did towards the finale. I don't know about you guys. I also was not a big fan of her stunt of going in the mental ward. Didn't like that. But what I really did like was the fact that, if you want to talk about conclusions, we had Hohe say, I want real closure. At least we finally got real closure on Ben, because I didn't want to go through the what ifs of Ben and people thinking that maybe he was alive. I thought he was clearly dead, but at least now we finally got an answer to it. So we can put that to bed. But I'm interested to hear from you guys out there. What you guys thought of it, what you like, what you didn't, what characters you thought should have died, which ones you wanted to see live. I mean, for me, it was like Ruth and Nelson, but as I said, for Ruth, it was really a matter of, as soon as they kind of just had her pulling her life together, it was doomed. That's a lazy trope that I think a lot of shows fall into. You're not going to have happy endings, unfortunately, and Ruth didn't. So, but the way she went out, I loved. And one thing that they're not going to point out, but all of her money is now going to go to 3. That to me is like, this dude just inherited a gold mine. He's going to be the owner of a casino. That house is probably paid for. So, that was one thing I was disappointed. Like, she's building her dream house. She can't even get ready to enjoy it. Thought that kind of sucked. Hohe said, I didn't like Wendy, but it made for an interesting story. I never knew what she was going to do next. And that's so true. Hohe, neither did Marty. And I think that's one thing that really stuck out to me this season was Marty really felt like he was nothing more than playing second fiddle to his wife, and he got sick of it. And I think it really frustrated him, the fact that she was just a lone wolf. And you saw it with the conversation he had with Charlotte. I feel like she's just leading us down a path to death, and she's just driving us right off a cliff. And he didn't agree with her logic, or he didn't agree with basically anything she did, but he couldn't stop her. And that was something that I found amazing, was even the great Marty Byrde could not find a way to stop his wife, because at the end of the day, she was so stubborn and pigheaded that she was willing to do anything she thought was right. And she would justify these things. The only thing that Wendy Bird had a line with was putting rigged voting machines in states. That's the only time she was ever like, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." I mean, that's incredible to me. Um, give me 1 second. Please check the video resolution, the current resolution, which which is not optimal. Guys, I'm sorry if the video is not optimal. My bad. As I said, I usually don't do live chats. I need to find another service and a better webcam and all that good stuff. Um, Vince gave me $20, so I'm gonna go buy a webcam after this and do more of these. And real quick, if you're new, I say we as if I have like a whole team. I started a Patreon. There is a link in the description if you guys want to join. It's as little as like $1, and then it's as much as 10. So, if you guys want to join, one of the perks is you get to be in a Discord chat. I'm in there. Vince, the guy who was nice enough to donate, he's there and in there as well. So, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm just looking to get more steady income. So, but if you want to support the channel, join the Patreon. I'd appreciate it. Link in the bio. Now that we're done with the analytics and the stream health and all that, sorry, it popped up. Back to the topic at hand of Ozark. I asked the Wendy question because of the fact that Wendy got, as I said, compared to Skylar White a lot. And I felt like both women were completely misunderstood. So with Skylar, if you've ever watched Breaking Bad, I always say that her actions were honestly pretty justified when you consider how you would probably react if your husband or wife, for that matter, came home and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm a meth kingpin." I'm going to be honest, I really wouldn't handle that too well. And the fact that I had to stay with him because uh, I've watched enough movies and TV shows to know that the drug business seems to be one of, danger. So I always thought Skylar White was pretty justified in how she acted. Now, with Wendy, I didn't hate her because I felt like most of the things she did were pretty much in line with everything Marty was doing. Like it wasn't kosher a lot of times, but it was what was necessary in that moment to keep the birds and the family alive. So I never had a problem with really anything she did. Until this season. There were some things where it was like, Wendy, girl, like pump the brakes. Um the one thing that and by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them down there in the chat. Right now we have 50% say yes for Wendy, 50% say no. So yeah, if you guys have any thoughts or comments, throw them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. Um, the only thing that really irked me though with this season, other than the ending, which I came around to, was the entire car crash scene. I know this is super nitpicky of me, but I'm sitting there watching it like nobody stops on the side of the road. Nobody. That car flipped more times than a NASCAR at Talladega, and nobody says, "Let me pull over and see what's going on." No, the birds just had to get out, dust themselves off, hop in a cab, and head home. I just, that to me was a little unbelievable. That one might have been the most unbelievable thing on a show featuring a family moving to the Ozarks and working for a drug cartel. That to me was probably the most ridiculous thing of this season by far. There's no shot in hell that if a car crash like that happens, no one is stopping on the side of the road. Just not buying it. But with all that said, I don't know about you out there. Wasn't a huge fan of the new character of the priest. I just felt like he was pointless. He added nothing for me personally. I'd be interested to hear from you guys if he added anything for you out there. For me, he added virtually nothing. Wasn't a huge fan of him. I think there was some things in there with his maybe some foreshadowing, but helping Marty through the strains of what he was going through. I didn't care at that point. The Mel and the Mel relationship with Maya, I liked. I wanted a conclusion with that. I wanted to know what happened, and I totally forgot to ask everybody out there, what did you actually think happened in the end? Now, once again, if you are just joining, heavy spoilers, so I apologize. Thank you for being here, but if you haven't watched the end of Ozark, I would dip out. But I do want to know what everybody thought, because we didn't, as Haho he said, we didn't get real closure. We don't know what happened. It faded to black. We heard the shotgun go off. I personally think he shot Mel. I had another person say they just think that he shot the urn. I am convinced that he shot Mel. I think that close with a shotgun, you're not having the accuracy to just shoot an urn. You're shooting a guy too. And I just think that that was case in point of birds versus everybody. But I had another friend say that he thinks that he shot his parents. I could not disagree with that more. I don't think that there's a shot in hell that Jonah Bird shot Wendy. I don't think he would. He definitely would have shot. Would not have shot Marty, but I don't think he would have shot Wendy. But I'm interested to hear it from you guys out there, what you guys think he might have done, because I'm convinced that he shot Mel, and they just got rid of the body in the crematorium the way they always do. Which I do wonder how many drug cartels now have crematoriums just at the ready. Um, but it was for me an ending that, and endings are tough. Endings are really tough to do. They are difficult because you're in a tough predicament. You don't want this happy-go-lucky ending for everybody, especially for a drama like this, but you want a conclusion that leaves everybody satisfied, and a lot of them have already been done. So for me personally, the perfect ending was Breaking Bad. I didn't hate this one, but I'd be lying if I said that when I finished it and when I recorded that spoiler-free review of it, I was still on the fence about it. Aline Martinez says the ending was rushed. Bruce shouldn't have died. I don't disagree with the fact the ending was rushed. As I said, I mean, I think that a little earlier, if you missed it, I think the way that they handled this season, especially with the angle of how the birds were going to team up with Camilla, I felt that was extremely rushed. That basically was two episodes, maybe three, but it felt like two episodes where it was all of a sudden deals off the table. We got to figure this out. Let's go with Camilla. Wasn't a huge fan of that because I felt like there was really no conclusion that I got from it. But looking at Ruth and the character, it's a shame because um, she was to me so unlikable at the beginning of this show. And then the way that she turned her life around. I mean, she obviously became a huge fan favorite, character favorite for a lot of people. I don't know anyone out there that didn't like Ruth Langmore. The way she carried herself, like she carried herself, and I feel like a lot of people would love to carry herself. You want to talk about a person who gives no fucks? Like Ruth Langmore gave no fucks right till the bitter end. The only time she seemed remotely scared was with her father and with oh my god, there was one other time where you saw Ruth pretty scared. What was it? Omar? She ran into somebody and she was oh no, that was Darlene. Darlene was scared with Omar. Or she was scared with Javi. I'm getting everybody confused. There was, I feel like, one other time where Ruth was scared. But her character was just she gave no fucks. And right to the end, she's screaming at Camilla, "Are you gonna shoot me or not?" Just staring at a barrel of a gun. Like that's I would be begging for my life. Ruth wasn't about to go out like that. And I respect the hell out of that. So yeah, it sucks because she's building her dream house. She gets the Missouri Belle. And even with the Missouri Belle, and I feel like this was an understated part of the show, she wanted to do everything the right way. She only came aboard with helping Marty when Marty said, well, they're not going to arrest you if they're sanctioning it. And after that, she was on board. Other than that, she wanted to do things at the Missouri Belle the right way, and she wanted to build a life for herself. And I respect the hell out of that and that character. But unfortunately, it's a lazy trope that they have where when you have a character who's down on their luck, as soon as they start to turn their luck around, they have to die. That sucked. I don't blame Claire for doing what she did. I would have ratted Ruth out in a heartbeat. Look, Camilla was cold-blooded. The way she just calmly said, I am going to cut you from your mouth to a word that I will not use. Yeah, that would have scared the shit out of me. So, with Camilla, that was I probably would have gave up Ruth way earlier than that. To me, she Claire Shaw might have been the most relatable person to me in the entire show. Nobody else I could have thought of like, yeah, I can relate to that person. Claire Shaw ability to like, shit, I gotta make money. All right, this deal is good. Oh God, who did I get into? I'm terrified. Fit right in with me personally because I'm a soy boy, as they say, a soy boy beta simp. That's I believe what I was called on Twitter once, so I'll go with that. Um, let's see what we got. Wendy wanted the business to grow into an empire like Walt. The car accident was unnecessary, in my opinion. Completely agree with that. Uh, Jonah shot Mel. Enjoy this sucks about Ruth. Thanks, Liz Nas. Um, shout out to Nas, by the way, who got a lot of play in this season. Agree. Yeah, I think Wendy wanted to build an empire. Why Marty realized that we got into this. And by the way, if you're just joining, I will remind people. Trying to change my chair, I can't. I will remind people I don't live in that house. That is a fake background. I do not have a pool, and my couch is not that nice, and I definitely do not have a coffee table. But and also I will say this a few times just to shameless plug. I started a Patreon. There's a link in the bio of this link on this description. You can go and you can give me money for goods and assets. So for Liz Nod's point, yeah, Wendy wanted to build this thing into an empire that would never stop. She got greedy. She got power hungry. She wanted to control the Midwest. She loved the sound of that. She wanted her cake. She wanted to eat it too. Marty realized I got into this out of necessity. I worked for a cartel to keep everybody alive. That is it. And at the first sign that I can get everybody out, I'm going to do it. He routinely tried to get his family out, and he was dragged back in by Wendy and other mitigating circumstances, but mainly by Wendy, who wanted her cake and eat it too. And one of my favorite parts of this season was when Wendy and Marty were fighting. And I think it was after Javi died. And she just yelled, he yelled, like, you're not going to get it all. Like, we can't have everything. But if you know, it goes right to the end of the episode with Mel saying something similar of you can't be the Kennedys. And Wendy just goes, why? Why not? And look, up until that point, Wendy's got a case. Because up until that point, Wendy's been able to have everything. She's towed a fine line. She's really balanced it well. I mean, almost died a few times there. But I think Marty was looking for the best interest of everybody. Truly. I think he wanted to get the family out. I also think he didn't want blood on his hands, where Wendy just was so cold-blooded and didn't care. She sided way more with Camilla in that sense. Camilla was like cartel cold. Wendy was political cold, if that makes any sense. Wendy was that assassin that will do the smear campaign. Camilla ain't going to do a smear campaign. She's just going to put a hit on you and kill you. But the two women were a lot alike, and I think that's why they bonded quickly, other than the fact that Wendy realized she needed an asset, and Marty's like, I'm not getting in bed with her. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, she's ratting everything out and going behind my back. So I respected Wendy personally for the way she handled herself. I didn't hate her. I know a lot of people did though. Let's go another one. Fire Admiral said, "Hello, I love your realness. Thank you. I try to be real. This is me. One of my favorite movies is The Greatest Showman. They have a great song. This is me. Look out, here I come. Hey, hey, hey. So yeah, if I like something, I'll tell you. If I don't, I'll let you know. And honestly, there hasn't been many shows that I've done recaps for that I didn't like. I can think of one show that I did a recap for that I absolutely hated, and then two shows that I thought were meh. And then other than that, I've liked everything. And Ozark is one of my favorite shows ever on that Netflix has ever put out. I couldn't wait for the season to start. I just wish to God it didn't start the day of the NFL draft. That would have been nice. I was lucky enough to get it early, so I finished it. But I came around to the ending, and if you're new, I would love to hear your thoughts on the ending, what you thought of it. As Lil Nas said, he's convinced that Jonah shot Mel. I'm with him, but I had some people telling me they thought Jonah shot the urn and Jonah shot Wendy. So I don't. I really think that Netflix should sell merch that say birds versus everybody, because I felt like Jonah Bird coming out after what he did with his parents, perfect example of the bond that they had as a family. Even though Jonah was not a fan of anything Wendy did ever since Ben died. He wasn't about to let Mel Saddam stroll on into his house and hold the family hostage over Ben's ashes, by the way. Now, it could be possibly that he was pissed off that Ben broke into the house and stole the ashes when they were given to him, but um, he wasn't about to let that happen. Thank you so much, Walden, to 2079. I really appreciate the donation. Thank you. And if you guys are looking to help out, I started a Patreon. I am going to plug that constantly. I'm not going to ask you to like and subscribe, but I'll ask for if you want to join the Patreon. The link is in the description. I will look to add more stuff to it. I started it honestly. I went to Vegas for the draft, for the NFL draft, and I was flying back. And a buddy, Vince, who actually donated earlier, and joined, he joined the Discord. He's in there. And he's watching now, I believe still. But he suggested starting a Discord and starting a Patreon. I said, all right, what the hell, who doesn't like money? So I'm trying to be a little Wendy Bird in that sense. But I literally was filling the info out at like 10:30 p.m. Vegas time, and I'm on the East Coast, so I was exhausted. So I kind of half-assed it. I'll look to add more stuff in, but if you want to join, that would be cool. And if not, I will never know. So, but if you do join, I'm gonna put you in the Discord, so we can all chat continuously. You'll get updates of what I'm doing. I realize a lot of times you guys don't know what's going on, and what I'm working on until I post a video up, and then it's like, oh, he's working on Moon Knight because Moon Knight episode 1. But are there any problems that you guys had with the show as a whole? Was there anything that you would have liked them to bring back to revisit? Is there any plot points that you felt like were inconclusive? I feel like a lot of people out there, they enjoyed the ride. They were underwhelmed by the finale. As I said, I talked myself into it. I felt like there were a lot of pointless characters that were thrown in there. The priest was one, as I said. I think that Charlotte was one of the most underutilized characters. Like, they never developed her. She was just there for the most part. Now, they were trying to kind of hint at her being a little Wendy, and Ruth even brought that up to um, Nathan of like what's going to happen when Jonah turns into a little Marty and Charlotte turns into a little Wendy. I just felt like her character had absolutely no substance whatsoever. So that to me was disappointing. I felt like they could have made more out of her because I felt like they really developed Jonah well. And, him going and living in the motel and him starting the laundering business. Felt like they really did a good job with him. Charlotte, they completely just mailed in for the most part. And she was kind of just there working at the Missouri Bell, helping parents out, and basically being a glorified secretary. But I'd love any comments you guys have out there. Throw them out there, please. And I'll be happy to answer them. But for the most part, Jonah's character I really enjoyed. Um, Charlotte was really the only one throughout the start from the front to the back that I just felt like was kind of not great. Um, yes, I do have glasses. I had contacts. I threw them out. I usually only wear them for hockey. When I play hockey, I wear contacts, or if I go to spin class, I wear contacts. Other than that, you got to deal with my squints. My squints look from Sandlot. So yes, fortunately, I can't see. I'm blind without them. So love Mel's character though. This show had a lot of good characters. I will say the one character that I didn't think I wanted like a little bit of a more of an ending with. I felt like they kind of just left him on the side of the road. Was Frank Cosgrove Jr. after his dad died. I mean, he popped up obviously in part 2, but not enough for my liking. I would have liked more of that. Um, but I mean, at the end of the day, Ozark was such an amazing ride. Whether you like the ending or not, whether you were unsatisfied, and it seems like a lot of people were unsatisfied with it. I talked myself into it. The ride was amazing, and eventually it did need to end. I would have liked a more conclusive ending, but it was an ending that at least I will give them a little credit for trying because it was gutsy. They knew that people were going to be pissed off about it, and yet they're still out there and they were still doing it. I appreciate that sense of it. But yeah, this was, an end that probably needed to happen, because how many more seasons were you going to drag this out of them trying to get out and getting dragged back in? I did really enjoy Marty going down to Mexico. Really enjoyed that. Thought that was a really good plot that they had of him trying to kind of establish the cartel, be a part of, be really the Omar down there. Um, Sorry. I don't know if this was the chat that I was originally it's scheduled. Give me a second. As I said, yeah, it's not. What the hell, man? Um, well, that's annoying. Let me edit this. Uh, this is super annoying. Yeah, so there is no link. God damn it. Ozark, season. What did I don't even remember what I titled it. That's the problem. Let me tell you, this streaming thing that I have, like this streaming software, sucks so bad. Um, Ozark season finale live chat. That's probably why nobody was popping in. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. Talking. Give me 1 second. I didn't realize this whole time it wasn't edited. Or was it? Like, I had it planned out, and it's, for whatever reason, didn't work, which is awesome. And by awesome, I mean this sucks, because I like, I've gotten to the point in my life, and I don't even know if you guys can still hear me. Give me 1 second. This is so annoying and frustrating. So annoying. Of course, my internet is super slow. 1 second. I feel like I have to start this whole thing over now. Yeah, that's like super annoying. Back. Okay. Sorry. I had scheduled a live chat, and I think probably a lot of, maybe some of you guys saw it or you didn't. But I had scheduled it on my channel. I put it up there, and for whatever reason, this shitty streaming service that I have didn't connect to it, and I am beyond frustrated with it. I need to probably move into StreamYard or something, because this is just flat out annoying as all hell. So whatever, we move on. I'm gonna have to delete that and edit. But 1 second on. So annoying. Thank you for bearing with me on this. I just realized I looked up and it was like recaps live chat. I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the Ozark finale live chat, and it didn't have that. It just had a generic thing, and that's annoying. So oh boy. Okay. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. As I said, I immediately just noticed that it literally didn't have a title. I had planned a title. I suck at YouTube, so I was trying to. I needed somebody to actually like sit me down and like hold my hand. I have realized that I am at that age where I don't understand technology, and this is terrifying because I look like I'm 12 years old. I should understand technology, and I'm sitting there going like, man, like the numbers for this live chat are lower than what they normally are. Normally they're pretty good. And then I realized, yeah, probably because it said the recaps live chat and it doesn't have a title. So, Red Fox Tucker, thank you. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for bearing with me on this. If you were just joining us, and we were talking the Ozark finale for Netflix, I am completely frazzled right now. As you can tell, I do not handle things as well as Marty Bird. But see live chat, blah blah blah. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm probably gonna move into StreamYard after this because the streaming service sucks. All right. So I'll if you've been with me, I thank you, and if you haven't, I'll probably just start right back over. But I want to hear from you guys out there if you liked the finale, if you didn't, what you liked about it, what you didn't, and what you think happened personally. And I said this in my my spoiler for review. I was lucky enough to get it early from Netflix. I finished it last week or 2 weeks ago, and when I initially finished the episode, the finale, I was like, oh, I don't know if I really like that or not. And I contacted my buddy from Netflix, my contact. I told him, and he's kind of a shill for Netflix, so he loves everything. But I was on the fence with it. I didn't hate it. I just was frustrated because I didn't feel like it was the conclusion that maybe we deserved. And we ended up, I ended up coming around on it. I know people that hated it. I know people that absolutely love the finale. My personal opinion was that the finale grew on me. Jonah ended up shooting Mel. And at the end of the day, it was more about the birds as a family being hell bent on being birds versus everybody than getting a conclusion that maybe we all expected to get with the cartel. I did feel a lot of this season was rushed, but that doesn't necessarily mean I didn't like it. I liked the season, but the whole Camilla angle I felt like was rushed. I we got enough deaths. I think the problem is the deaths that we got were, for the most part, a lot of secondary characters. The season started out with a bang. I mean, I didn't expect Javi to die as quickly as he did, but he did. And I love the fact that Ruth was just cold-blooded with it. She walks out, shoots him, and stares Marty and Wendy down and kind of pardons them. And I liked that Marty and Wendy had real fear in their eyes when that happened. Like, if you looked at them, they didn't know what Ruth was doing. Because while she had the gun and while she told them she wanted to kill Javi, I got the impression that at no point did they really think that she was good to shoot Javi, or at the very least, they could talk her out of shooting Javi. She didn't really give him that option. Call Javi, get him down here, boom, he's dead. So the episode started off with an absolute bang, but I felt like there was a lot of rushness with this season. Nathan coming back, I like that whole angle of the kids. My problem with the angle of trying to get Nathan involved and he's going to take the kids and take Jonah and take Charlotte was, I knew at the end of the day it wasn't going to happen. You gave us a scene in part 1 of the whole family in a minivan and an accident happens. So you knew the whole time that was going down. So even though the kids told the parents that, oh, we're going to go live with grandpa, I knew the whole time they weren't, because at the back of my mind, I'm like, well, we still need that scene. They didn't just throw that in there. They never should have thrown that scene in there. And not only should they thrown that scene in for part 1, it's completely unnecessary. It was stupid. Like, that car is flipping. I compared it earlier. That car is flipping like a NASCAR in a Talladega, the big one at Talladega. It is all over the place. And amazingly, I mean, I joked around in my recap, it must have been a Subaru because everybody just crawls out fine, not a scratch on them. There wasn't one Samaritan that stopped by and said, hey, let me check to make sure no one's dead. I guess they're that cold-blooded in the Ozarks. I guess they couldn't wait to go boating. Nobody pulled over to the side of the road, and they have to call a cab? That, to me, was the most pointless part of Ozark, and not just this season, all of it was that ridiculous crash of, we're just going to pull each other out. Now, maybe it was supposed to be a near-death experience that made everybody appreciate the family because they had just gotten done with Charlotte and Jonah talking to Wendy about, Wendy apologizing and coming back to the family. For me, that was pointless, though. That was complete clickbait bullshit that Netflix did at the beginning of part 1, making you think that, what are they running from? Are they trying to get out? No, they're literally just going home. That was stupid. Other than that, though, I was a fan of pretty much everything else. The Camilla character, that whole family. I mean, my God, did those 3 actors play the crap out of that role? Um, Absolutely incredible. The character of Omar, the character of Javi, and the character of Camilla. Yeah, you got the impression that they were definitely a family because they were just so, I mean, they cut through you with their looks and their calmness and the way they handle themselves. Omar was probably the most loose cannon of them all. And even he like was terrifying because he was just stuck in a a jail cell the entire time. Um, but yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the season, what you liked, what you didn't, and what you thought of the ending. Just pop on in the chat there, and I'll make sure to comment on anything I see. Unfortunately, if you were sticking with me this entire time, I appreciate it. Started this, I don't know, like an hour ago, 50 minutes ago, and the whole for about 40 of it, there was no title. So I'm having to kind of start back over from this. If you are a fan of the channel, if you subscribe, I really appreciate it. If you would like to continue to support the channel, I started a Patreon. So there's a link in the description. I've been saying that. I think I've said that 5 times. And the whole time, there hasn't been a link in the description at all because when I tried to connect my streaming service to the video that I had beforehand, it didn't connect. Awesome. Cool. But yeah, if you want to subscribe to the Patreon, I'd appreciate it, and I can add you to the Discord that I started. Um, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's not for money at all. It's for money. Yeah, I got bills to pay, so let those ads run. But I at the end of the day, I really did enjoy the ride that I had with Ozark. It's one of my favorite Netflix shows of all time. Um, would I have liked a more conclusive ending? Yeah, probably. But you get what you get. So I don't think it's the worst ending, the ending of them all. For me, like Lost was definitely the worst. And I realized afterwards that I compared it to somewhere in between Lost and Breaking Bad. Like that was that was the most cringeworthy part of my spoiler-free review was me saying it's somewhere in between, and this is just my opinion, it's somewhere in between the worst finale of all time and the best finale of all time. Like, could I have been more bland with that review? But I am somebody that I can't stand YouTube videos that are ultra edited, where it's like somebody does one sentence and then cut, somebody does another sentence, cut, and then it's 8 minutes of that crap. I hate it, so I just try to get it done in one take. And unfortunately, you're gonna have snafus like that. But I will look to do that more. I'll look to. I'm fortunate enough to get a lot of shows early, especially with Netflix, and some other shows I'm able to get early. But for the most part, Netflix gives me a lot of stuff early, and if I'm going to finish it early, I might as well put a review out there. So I'll try to get a spoiler-free review out. I haven't done them before. I pretty much stuck to the recap format of just giving what happened, and that's it. I've done a few of these live chats. I haven't done one in a while though, but I felt like Ozark definitely deserved it with how popular it is and the ending that it had. I felt like Ozark definitely deserved a little bit of a live chat. Unfortunately, for 40 minutes, I was an idiot and couldn't connect the software. But if you have any comments or questions, feel free to hop in the chat, and I will answer anything you have. Thank you for everybody who has donated money. I really appreciate the support of the channel. It means the world to me because I've been reminded constantly from friends and family that they don't want to hear me talk. So the fact that some people do, thank you very much for that. But the support does mean a lot. But if you have any questions about any other shows, right now I'm going to look to get Moon Knight finished tomorrow. Obviously, we have a big finale. I really like that show. But where for you does Ozark rank in best Netflix shows? I think with dramas, it's got to be up there. I never finished House of Cards, and honestly, it wasn't like a moral stance with Kevin Spacey. Just like it took forever to kind of come back, and when it did, it was like, all right, it kind of ran its course. But House of Cards for me was like the first Netflix show that I really got into, and then um, Ozark was probably the second. I mean, there's other shows on Netflix that I really enjoy, but no one watched. No, some people watch me. Um, there are other shows that I really do enjoy, but Ozark has got to be one of my favorite because I don't know, for 4 seasons it was one of the better shows that never really tailed off. Yeah, the ending was a little rushed, but I think they would have been better off doing part 2 a little bit later than part 1, but this is the new trend is doing, this part one, part two. They're going to do the same thing for Stranger Things. I think they're going to drop the first part in May and then the next part in July. So I'm not a huge fan of that quick turnaround. Just give me all of it at once. Don't string me out. But when Netflix stock the way it is, I completely understand it because their stock took a hit. So they're trying to keep people subscribed for 2 months to keep it going. So Liz Nas says that the House of Cards ending sucked. I'm not overly surprised. They had no idea what to do after the Kevin Spacey allegations, so it just seemed like it was going to be a rushed finale. Although we just got a rushed finale, I feel like with Ozark. But oddly though, I ended up kind of liking it. Talked myself into it. So yeah. All right, that's probably will do it unless there's any more questions or comments. As Frank Mello said, no one's watching me, so I think Frank wants me to go home and wrap it up. But thank you everybody for tuning in and checking this out. I'll wait a little bit because I know there is a lag between what you guys hear and what pops up in the chat, so I will wait a little bit as I give you guys an update on what I'm going to be working on coming up with the channel. As I said, I did start a Patreon, so just click the link in the description there, and that'll take you to the Patreon, and that'd be cool. Other than that, we got what's that show? Drawing a blank. Moon Knight. Moon Knight ends tomorrow. Thank you, Frank. He says I'm cute. I've always struggled with my looks, so that means the world to me. That comment. No problem, Liz. But Moon Knight finishes tomorrow, and then I have episode 5 of The Flight Attendant coming out on Thursday. And after that, I will start Barry season 3. I have not started it. Pretty much any free time I get, because I was busy going to with like my day job. I was busy with that, and then we went out to Vegas for the draft. So any free time I got, I was trying to get caught up on some movies and stuff. And then I've been watching the Lakers show, and I'm not recapping that, but I've been watching that. So after that, I will get into Barry because I did a Barry season 1 and 2 recap. So I'll start Barry season 3 probably next week at some point, and then after that, I'm going to be looking for something else. I do want to check out Severance because I hear it's really, really good on Apple. And I did watch the first episode and I liked it, but I do want to get more into that, and especially because it's okayed for a season 3 there or season 2. There's nothing worse than doing a full recap for something and it gets canceled. I'm looking at you, Cowboy Bebop. I guess I'm the one guy who liked Cowboy Bebop, but yeah, I busted my ass to get that recap up, and it bombed because there's no season 2, and all the nerd anime bros like just torched it to shreds. So I didn't watch the anime, but I actually liked it in a weird way. So, but yeah, basically we've got Moon Knight wrapping up, which those numbers do terrible. Every Disney Plus show I've ever put out does horrible numbers. But that and then The Flight Attendant, which I really like, Kelly Cuoco, my God. And then after that, we'll segue into Barry. And then, old account. I am so sorry, old account. I am wrapping up. But if you do have any questions or comments on Ozark, I will stick around and answer them. As in, there's anybody else here with my totally legit house and the real pool in the background. We just did like a whole spoiler conversation about Ozark, and for 40 minutes, I had no idea that the live video that I had scheduled wasn't actually connected. So for a long time, it just said recaps live chat, and that was just cheesy. So I finally finished it. But old count, if you have any thoughts on Ozark season 4's finale, throw them out there. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. But and I'll wait a little bit because I do know there's a lag. But other than that, if you guys have any show questions, show. If you can't tell, I'm cooked. I've been up way too long without sleep. If you have any show recommendations, throw them into either the comments or throw them into Twitter. I have my Twitter account on every one of my videos that you can see. So you can go over there and tell me what you think I should be watching or should be checking out. I usually don't get to everything that people suggest when they're like, hey, do this show, and it's 6 seasons in. I'm probably not going to do that show. At the end of the day, I do want to have some interest in the shows that I'm doing because I have recap shows that I absolutely hate, and that at that point it becomes a job. For the most part, doing what I do is a lot of fun, but when I have to recap something that I absolutely despise, it sucks. It becomes the bane of my existence. So, and there are just some shows out there that I just have no interest in, unfortunately. So, thank you everybody for checking this out, tuning in, supporting the channel, and all that good stuff. I am sorry that I've had some streaming service problems, and then the title and all that crap. This live chat was an absolute disaster of a shit show, and that's why you should smash that thumbs down button. But thank you for sticking with me, all that crap. I do appreciate it. And I will talk to you next time, hopefully, when I actually figure out this live chat format, because I've done about 4 of these and they've all sucked, in my personal opinion. And then don't forget, as I said, for about the 7th or 8th or 9th time, I did start a Patreon. It is in the description of this video. You can click that. It's as little as $1, and then it goes up to like 10. So, and we started a Discord. So for the time being, for the next month, even if you just donate $1, even though it doesn't say it, I will add you to the Discord channel, and we can all continue to talk. Because I know for the majority, if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, I constantly say, like, I don't check out the comment section. And for the most part, that is true. Every once in a while, I'll see a comment. When I check the bell icon, I'll see something and I'll get back to somebody. But for the most part, I don't check the comment section, because I'm a beta cuck, soy boy, lib, uh, any other negative that you can think of. That's snowflake. So for the most part, I don't check the comment section, but the Discord will allow us to at least, stay in contact, and you can throw comments or questions out there and we can just discuss, because for the most part, my recaps, you don't actually get my opinion on things. I'm just throwing, the goods out there. So, but once again, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you, I don't know, whenever.